The worst old movie that I've watched is Invasion of the Body Snatchers. And every time that somebody finds out that a person has been body snatched, they look to the screen and do this.
Oh,
like just this screen right into this. It's so odd. Why would you do this? The 80s, this was a good idea for a horror movie.
Is it supposed to scare me?
It's not. It's annoying.
I'm just overstimulated.
I'm sorry, Mom. I didn't like the movie. Hi, I'm Lacey J. I'm an entrepreneur who started a social media agency at age 22. Weird, I know. I've been niching it down and building it up over the last 11 years, and a long 11 years they have been. Being on social media so much is hard on my and my team's mental health, so we work to find routines, balance, and focus on ethics that keep us showing up authentically online. If you manage social media accounts and you feel confused, unfocused, or straight up wackadoo, welcome to the club. We meet here once a week. Okay, welcome everybody. I am so happy to have you here and so happy to have Justine here. How you doing today, Justine?
Bright-eyed and bushy-tailed.
Are you?
No.
Give that head wiggle for me one more time. Yeah, that's right. Justine is one of the social media strategists at Spry, and I'm excited to have her here today to just talk one social media manager to another. You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, so the first thing I want to get into is onboarding new social media clients, okay? So whether you're in an agency or you're a freelancer, what are we doing when we're first bringing on a new client, and how does it go? What's the high points? What's the low points? What's hard? What's easy? So,
Man.
you ready for that?
Yeah, it's a lot.
It is a lot.
This is my first account being a strategist and going through the onboarding kind of all by myself this go around, just because of some of the team dynamics.
Yes.
And whoa. You're figuring out what channels they even have that are existing. What do you need to update? Do you need to create a page? Do you need to create a LinkedIn account? Do you need to connect their ad accounts? Whoa.
It's a lot.
So you kind of have to go through this huge mental checklist, and thankfully we have documents for that. But yeah, you're really just kind of like getting your bearings, figuring out what they want. How many posts are we doing a week? What's the ad spend? What's your strategy?
All the logistics in place. Let's start with the persona. So you have to, first of all, one of the fun parts is you have to like wrangle a client in, you know what I mean? Like it's so difficult sometimes just to get meetings properly scheduled, because the reason that businesses are often offboarding this social media task is because they don't have time for it. And so here we are at the very beginning asking for their time consistently. And how it takes a while sometimes to get them to show up properly.
You gave me great advice during this process. And you're like, literally just send an email with dates, make it bold, maybe highlight some stuff.
Yeah.
Pick for them. And you have to do that.
The power of a subject line, you know, a subject line, meeting, request, this date.
We are running out of time.
Highlight and bold the dates that you have a question about.
Yes.
Bullet points are your friend.
Little text is possible.
So then once you actually get them wrangled in and you sit down, the first thing that we do is a persona and tone discussion and interview. So that's where we're building marketing personas that we're going to create Facebook ad audiences off of, and we're going to be, thinking about our content in the context of these people reading it. So what's it like going through a persona interview, trying to build those personas maybe with somebody who's never done that before?
It can kind of be like herding kittens at first, because they aren't always super focused. And like you said, it's the first time for them even thinking like, oh my gosh, who do I want to reach? Who am I trying to speak to? So in that initial meeting, they're kind of sitting there like, oh wait, who? Okay, so we have this person and this person. Oh, but what about this person? And then that's a bird walk into this person. And
because we're usually trying to filter them into like 3 personas to create ad audiences off of, and they're like, but wait, we have 12. It's like, okay, let's focus on the ones that are going to be on social media.
Yes.
I always think it's funny if sometimes I accidentally ask them to start with like coming up with a name for the persona, and they get so confused. So we kind of start by going into the details a little bit more. Like, who are some clients that you have now that you would like 100 more of?
Yes.
That's a great prompt question that can get their mind working on that.
Who do you not want
that's
to
such
land
a good
in your
question.
lap? That really helped me with this account because they have specific values, which are amazing, and I align with myself. They're very, community oriented, and there are certain people that they just kind of don't want to do business with because of their morals and their values, and I super respect that. So that really helped us narrow down
who our personas are.
Yeah.
So in that interview, we do personas, right? Where we come up with basically who are the people we're trying to reach. It includes sometimes gender, sometimes age, sometimes region, what their interests are, which social media platforms they're going to be actually sitting on, and we could actually reach them on. And developing a few of those personas, right? And then the second part of that first interview is about tone. So how do you explain to a new social media client what we even mean by tone?
Man, I remember kind of explaining to them, how do you want to be perceived by these audiences that you want coming to you and these people that you want to reach? Do you want to be all business? Do you want to be playful? Do you want to be business with a little playful? There's so many ways you can speak to these people, and they fortunately for this client, they're pretty open and understanding, and they got the concept pretty quickly.
Good.
But yeah, that can be hard to get across because, again, new territory. And from a marketing perspective, we're like, duh, obviously we need to talk to certain people a certain way to get them to engage. And they're on their end thinking, I don't know. Like, what?
It's sometimes hard. It's like when you're in something, it's hard to see what's going on. And so you need this outside perspective because they're just living their values all the time. And it's our job to help them figure out what values it is that they're actually presenting. The funnest part to me is when, you ask, are there any adjectives that, you're already using to describe your brand? And they might, give you a few. And then do those actually show up in the way that you do business? I love... it's no secret I love challenging people. I like, kind of taking control of the tone of a conversation. And so challenging people on what they say their values are. How does that show up employee to employee? How does that show up in a customer service standpoint? And sometimes it can take those adjectives and say, actually, maybe we focus only on these two because these are what people are actually experiencing when they're engaging with our brand.
Yes.
It's fun.
It is fun.
So then we like to try to have at least, like 2 to 5 or so adjectives at the end of that conversation that help guide how we're going to sound when we're writing content for their social media. It's informative. It's helpful.
It is.
Okay, so after you do a persona and tone interview, the next step that we do at Spry is doing like a content strategy document, which all of those logistics you talked about at the beginning with frequency and ad spend and that kind of thing go into a document like that. But the other piece that goes into that is like campaigns or content buckets. So in your social media brain, what's that process like coming up with what those content buckets are going to look like?
So after you gather all the intel and you know what direction they want to head, you have a real understanding of the client and their needs. For me, the way I operate, I'm sitting there kind of visualizing the feed. I'm visualizing how I want them to appear visually. And then...
Oh, interesting, because you have the design background. Oh, how interesting.
And then how can I create those visuals to communicate their values? So for True North, this client that we've been talking about, obviously I'm a graphic designer, so there's a lot of heavy graphics involved. So I'll think, okay, so they want to create trust. So we're going to go a testimonial route, graphic. We want to drive home that they're very employee...
People focused.
People focused, thank you. And they're community focused. So... lots of photos with laughing and smiling faces. And then you pull all of these thoughts into a strategy and you write it down and you make a plan. And okay, so every other week, we're going to do a testimonial to really showcase the returning clients and how happy they are and how trustworthy they are. And then maybe every week we do an employee spotlight and a fun fact about the employees, because we know them and we love them. And if you come work for us, which is a persona audience that we're trying to
is a prospective employee.
Yes. They really seem invested in their people. So it's just all these little stories you're trying to tell, and you just have to logistically map it out and make a plan.
Yeah, I like the concept of we're taking whatever their objectives are. Like, what was the purpose of them wanting to focus on social media in the first place? Here are your objectives. Okay, what campaign can we use to fulfill that objective? And if we have X number of posts per week, how often can we do each of these content buckets?
It's and kind make of it look nice.
And make it look nice.
Like, organize it before it's even come to fruition. So there's just a lot of planning up here before it's out there.
And it seems like each strategist has their own kind of specialty, and so there's like this lean into whatever your specialty is. So with you being a focus on graphics, you have this heavy visual concept. I often focus more on like video snippets, and so I'm looking for where's existing video content I can pull from. And so that's how we even think about who we're matching a strategist with for each client.
Yes.
What are their objectives? What are the strengths of each strategist to make sure that the content that's coming out is fulfilling the objectives for the client.
Great point.
It's a lot.
It is. Yeah, there's a lot of moving parts.
Okay, so I think that's pretty good for this overarching onboarding topic, okay? Because there's a second topic that I want to talk about with you, which over the last month, we've been working on creating an updated reporting process for our clients. And this is big because most of our reporting that we've been doing has been like screenshot focused, you know?
Static.
Yes, here's a static look at this post that did great. Here's a little commentary on why. And that's valuable. But I felt like what we were missing was kind of this month over month look showing consistent progress in one direction or another on multiple stats instead of just this static month by month content. So talk to me a little bit about how it has gone creating this new report and what you think is the benefit of it.
So with anything new, there's a little headache period. But once you get it sorted out, you can kind of see the light at the end of the tunnel, and it's amazing. So we're kind of shifting, hopefully, over to this Google app called Data Studio, and instead of just getting a month by month view, you're getting this comprehensive overview that's actually interactive. So the client, when they receive the report, can scroll over parts. It will show numbers. It shows growth in graphs and charts.
And percentages.
And just data. And you can make it pretty. And the amount of data that you can import into this document is just insane. It's so cool. So any like existing Google Sheets document, you can import, you can merge documents and data. It's pretty phenomenal. And I've only,
scratched
touched
the surface,
tip of the iceberg as to what it can do. So
and
I'm excited about it.
You presented, a group of us kind of presented the first report using the Data Studio. And from your perspective, how was it received, and what are you going to do with it moving forward?
I think it was received very well. I think they were impressed that, we went from something static and figured out how to get all of their 6-7 months of data into one snapshot. And one of the members of Storm Geo actually said, well, you know what I miss? The visuals of the posts. And I was like, oh,
sheet number 2.
Hang on, my dear. Let me click this button for you. So that was cool because I saw that ahead of time. That was one thing that I felt was kind of missing with the Data Studio are those visuals. Because, who knows what Google made this Data Studio for. They didn't make it for social media
reporting.
Right. We're just using it for that. So I thought it would be really cool to still incorporate some of that pretty static imagery just to give them a visual of what's working, as well as the numbers.
That's a great point. Not getting rid of the idea of here's a snapshot of what's working well. What we're looking at with the numbers and in the data studio is months of impact, but we still have to be able to show this month, here's one quick deep dive into something that created some of the impact that you're seeing in those numbers.
See this jump here? That was this post, and this is why.
And I mean, people ask us a lot about whether or not we use any specific social media reporting tools, and we just don't. If you spend time in social media insights, you know how quickly they change what they call something, where you find something. And so these tools do not have the capacity to adapt at the speed that your little manual fingers can go in and actually find the data point that you need, grab it, put it into the chart that then updates the graph that's in this data studio. So
just no.
So no. I wish there was I even have conceptualized in the past, like, could we create a tool that pulled all the data? But everything just changes so quickly that I've never been able to rely on a reporting tool to get all of the pieces that people actually want reported on.
Yeah, no.
In an accurate way.
Yeah.
It might pull a number and present a number, but then I've had this happen before. This is why we got rid of it in the first place. They'll challenge a number like that, and I go in to try to find it, and it doesn't match. And then what?
Yeah. Totally. Yeah. We're not software developers.
No.
We just gotta click and find it and give it.
That's our reporting process. Click, find, give.
And hopefully you like it.
Okay. The last thing that I wanted to cover with you is we've been doing something super, super fun lately that you just tricked at. You just one weekend, I get back to Slack, and there's these messages from Justine saying, somebody go onto Instagram, do a story, and then search in the gift stickers for Spry. And I search, and all of a sudden, there's like 8 custom gift stickers with... One of them even has my face on it. Like, there's no way to get me to love you more than having my face appear somewhere.
Maybe I knew that subconsciously.
You're a good strategist. So tell me about what you've been doing with these. And we're starting to offer these to clients, and it's so fun. So what is it that we're making? How are you doing it?
Okay. So, and I have to give my friend credit. She was the one who came to me with her small business and was like, hey, you're a magician for me. Can you make this happen? And I was like, I have no idea, but I'm going to try. Let's see what happens. So she wanted gifts for her brand. And so, I did a quick Google search. I'm like, how do you get your brand gifts on Instagram? Because I know you can. I see them everywhere. Got an answer, applied for the Giphy account, made her some gifts. She was super happy. And I was like, you know what? I can do this for a lot of other people. And I just had some fun, which was nice. I just, there was no pressure. I just went in there, made some fun little gifts. And
it's a really nice tool, like, as any sort of social media manager or freelance social media manager, to be able to give this as an add-on or an a la carte item, because how awesome and custom it looks when you share something to your story on Instagram and you have branded stickers instead of just, I don't know. I have a few clients who we create an alignment with specific gifts or stickers. So like there's a fire GIF that I usually use on one client's story shares. And that fire GIF, sometimes it's there and sometimes it's not. It's so confusing.
Interesting.
So I live and die by whether or not it's properly indexed. And I don't want to have to do that all the time.
Yeah.
I want to be able to have specific ones that I can go to and add to my stories.
Yes.
On top of that, there's I always have kind of SEO running in the back of my mind because that's how I started in this industry. And so when you said you can search, when you're looking for the Spry ones, you can search social media manager, I'm like, oh.
Yes.
I see the SEO implications here to have our brand aligned with that phrase so that if other people are searching for stickers that have to do with that keyword phrase, our branded stuff is popping up.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
Yeah. It's It's so useful. It's great. I think more people should be doing it.
Yes. I don't know why all big brands don't do it.
Got you.
Here's a good closing question for you.
Okay.
We are moving into it's almost September, okay? And midterm elections are coming in November. And what that usually means is for social media manager purposes, our landscape becomes a hot fire bed of contention and chaos.
Yeah.
So, are you prepared for that? Like, is this your first election season as a consistent social media manager? Are you prepared for this mayhem that will ensue?
It is my first. I don't know. I feel like thankfully a lot of the clients that I have right now are pretty neutral territory. So I may not even come across it very much. StormGeo is the one that I kind of worry about
because it has a climate focus.
They already have stuff.
I find that even from my experience, so let me prepare you. My experience says that even if your brand has nothing to do with any political issues, stepping foot inside the social media platforms at all is kind of like you have to put on your armor a little bit before you go in. Because, I mean, maybe it's just me this happens to, but like when I'll like have a task that I'm supposed to do for a client and I'll pull up Instagram and all of a sudden I'm like, it's been 10 minutes and I'm still scrolling through my personal stuff and I got distracted. I put my phone away. I realized I was supposed to be there for a specific task, right?
Yeah.
And so it's so easy for us to kind of see and even just get drawn in some to the negative interactions that people are having while you're online. So this is the time where we start setting timers. We say, okay, I got to do presence management for this client for 10 minutes. I'm going to set my timer. I'm going to get in and out and do it because otherwise you can get pulled in a direction that can really mess you up for a while.
That's very true. As social media managers, we can't just choose to be...
take the month off of social.
Yeah. You kind of have to be in the midst of it.
Gird your loins.
True. Yes.
Okay, you ready?
Yeah. I better be.
Okay. All right, we hope you all have a good rest of your day, good rest of your week. Gird your loins. Gird them. Make some gifts. That's all I got for you. I don't got another G. I would have loved to, but that's too bad. Good day.
Social Media with Lacey J is brought to you by Spry Social Media Marketing. Edited and produced by Chad Hinman and executive produced by Lacey J. Fott.